So this weekend I was doing a hackathon with IronHack's Miami's Future AI event. I have never done one before, and that's not my background. Honestly, I work in marketing full-time, but on the side, my hobbies were pageants, modeling, nothing along those lines. And I thought after a big part of my pageant career preparing for Miss Florida USA had passed, what are some other things that I wanted to learn and do to grow? So I thought about one of my model inspirations, Carly Kloss, and how she has Code with Klossy, and how I would love to do something along those lines. And lo and behold, there was a hackathon that was here in Miami. So I didn't know what to expect because it was my first time. They had a Slack group, so I tried to get in as much information as possible. I watched several YouTube videos about other people's hackathon experience, and that did give me some insight, but I figured I'd also share my experience, just because, again, it's coming from someone like me whose background is a little different. So going through Slack, then they had, before the actual hackathon started, a welcome event to announce the theme. And I felt really out of place. I'm like, what am I doing here? Why did I decide to show up? There was actually a commercial the day of the hackathon that I was crossing my fingers, hoped that I would book, so I didn't have to do the hackathon or I could back out, but that didn't happen. And honestly, I'm so glad I ended up doing it because it was an amazing learning experience. I felt so empowered to explore new programs and build code that I never would have before. In context, I've done a little bit of coding on the web design side, so HTML, CSS, a little bit of JavaScript, but especially now that there's ChatGPT, there's a lot more opportunity to expedite that learning curve, but it's good to still have a little hang on those basics. So we were paired with random people, but I had an amazing team. The first day was actually remote at our event, and we didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know if my team members would show up that day, but they said worst case scenario to message the group so that you could be paired into other teams or grouped elsewhere. But my team was there. We decided to do a speech fun phonetics AI platform for kids to practice their vowels and use AI speech recognition so that they could measure how they're doing with practicing their English. And it was a lot of fun. You know, we built it from scratch. We didn't know what to expect. From my medium experience on the web design side, I focused more on the front end while my other team members did the back end. And then the following day, that was from like 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., you know, we're coding away, working with some amazing mentors. Oh my gosh, they were from Kaseya and some other groups. They had experience also in full stack development. So they really, you know, there's a special place for people in coding to teach other coders because you need so much patience to help people like us. And so they really guided us through the project. The remote day, we were there from about 10 a.m. to, I went to bed at 11:30, but typically they say in these hackathons, you're not supposed to sleep, but I usually don't like to compromise my sleep schedule. I did wake up at 4:30 in the morning to finish out some of the other code once we had some of the UI UX designs in place. And then Saturday, it started at 9, kickoff 10, and then final submissions was at 6:30. So again, just really cool experience. I left feeling empowered. I think a big point that I didn't realize I would get out of it is a sense of community. Being here in a new part of Miami, I've been longing for better connections with people. I've gone to a few happy hours and social outings, but a lot of times it's just small talk and you don't really get to connect with someone. And I think in hackathons, because you are forced to be in the same space with people, with a few people for a very long period of time, you really get to know them, you really get to work with them and, you know, be inspired by the work that they do. So I also loved that part of a hackathon. At first I thought, oh man, would I really do something like this again? Again, I don't really code. That's not what I do on a day-to-day, but afterwards, the different programs and skills that I learned, the confidence I gained, my team didn't win, but again, the experience as a whole was so empowering and it really gave me hope for the Miami tech community as a whole. And so I told my family, I'm like, I hope you guys also take part in a hackathon one day. I just can't recommend it enough. I just had such a great time and I was very lucky to have a great team of people to work with.